Hello, you beautiful people. So, we finally got Sparxie's full V1 kit today, after like a pretty long wait with the delays and all that, but honestly, I'm just happy that we're getting her full kit at last. Today, I'm mainly going to talk about Sparxie's entire kit in detail, including all of her basic abilities, traces, light cone, and at last, her Eidolons as well. On top of this, I'll also go over the new mechanics of the Elation Path as well, and personally, I would definitely say that this new path looks really fun to play, but it also has its limited restrictions as well. If you're planning to pull for any of the new characters though, you might want to check out Lubar because on this site you can save up to a total of 25% on all your purchases. To give an example, I'll buy this 3280 Nyric Shard pack for $43, and this same pack costs me about $50 from the in-game shop. You can see that it's cheaper, right? For the top-up process, just enter your UID in this box and choose your respective server depending on your account. After waiting for a few minutes, I received my Jades with the double top-up bonus because it was my first purchase. If you use my link, which is in the description or the pinned comment though, you can get an extra 10% off on top of all the other discounts. Alright, I won't lie, Sparxie's kit sounds quite complicated at first glance, but the more you understand Elation and its mechanics, it's rather easy to understand. She's a main DPS that utilizes the new Elation mechanics to the fullest, and to keep things simple, Elation damage is a separate new type of damage that scales purely based on Elation level, Elation buffs, and punchline stacks possessed. You need to keep in mind though that it is not buffed by normal effects like regular damage buffs and instead works similarly to Super Break, only being increased by specific things like punchline stacks, which I'll get to later. So, starting with her skill first, it works like Fugue skill, and when it's used, it changes her kit drastically. It first of all enhances her basic attack and triggers a totally new skill interaction, which is unique to her kit. This new skill basically works like Dan Hung ILs, as instead of dealing damage, it buffs her basic attack, and when it is used, it increases the damage multiplier of her enhanced basic attack while randomly granting her either additional skill points or punchline stacks. Now, these punchline stacks increase Elation damage and is shared with the entire team like a universal currency, and is the one of the two ways to increase Elation damage, so getting these from this skill is really important to maximizing her damage output. Additionally, this skill can be casted up to 20 times with each cast consuming a skill point, and this can lead to her enhanced basic attack dealing pretty insane amounts of damage. Moving on, her basic attack itself is rather simple to say the least. All it does is that when you are done casting her skill by either running out of skill points or have decided to end it, Sparxie will deal fire blast damage equal to her attack to one enemy and adjacent targets. Next up, her ultimate is honestly pretty interesting as it is her main source of generating punchline stacks other than her skill. So, upon being used, her ultimate generates 2 punchline stacks and it additionally deals fire damage scaling off her attack to all enemies on the field. What's interesting though is that the damage multiplier of this ultimate is multiplied by the amount of Elation Sparxie has. I know I didn't mention it before, but Elation is also its own stat, with Sparxie and Yaoguang both being able to utilize it to deal damage while buffing their own abilities, and this is a good example of that. Now, Sparxie's talent is that part of her kit which actually glues her entire kit together, and is the most important part by far. So, when Sparxie possesses Certified Banger, using her enhanced basic attack deals additional fire Elation damage. On top of this, it also buffs her enhanced basic attacks drastically as for each time she casts her skill, which is a lot by the way. Her basic attack will deal an extra instance of Elation damage to one random enemy. All in all, it basically double buffs this enhanced basic attack, which makes it deal insane amounts of damage, and her talent also makes her ultimate do additional fire Elation damage as well. I know some of you are confused what this Certified Banger is, and honestly, it's a pretty easy concept to understand and is the core of Elation. Basically, at the start of battle, AHA themselves will appear in the action order with a fixed speed. Now, when it is their turn to act, AHA will grant the team the Certified Banger stacks based on how many punchlines the team has, which enhances their skills as mentioned before, and this is the core to Sparxie's kit as it basically doubles the damage her abilities do when she possesses these. Additionally, when AHA takes his turn, I think Elation characters use their Elation skill, which in Sparxie's case deals AoE damage along with random Elation hits and grants her some fake skill points similar to Dan Hung Il. Anyways, that's her entire base kit explained in detail, and I hope you're keeping up with me up until this point. Moving on, her traces are really simple, so I'll go through these really fast in order to not waste your time. Her first trace increases Sparxie's elation based off her attack, and it can give her a maximum of 80% extra elation. This is genuinely a really significant buff, by the way, as due to there being other sources of elation buffs. This one in particular isn't diluted at all, making its value much higher. Next up, her trace 2 is the typical teammate requirement, as the more elation characters she has in the team, the more punchlines Sparxie will generate, with 3 granting her an additional 8 of them. All in all, a somewhat team-locked trace, which I personally dislike, but it is what it is. Anyways, her last trace is a nice T-wide buff, as she will increase the crit damage of all her allies by up to 40% based off the amount of punchlines they have. Overall, I would say that her traces are quite solid and fits into her kit perfectly. Now let's talk about her light cone, and honestly, it's extremely unique as it increases the skill point limit of the team based on the number of elation characters in the team. This is actually kind of crazy because you can't even max this out at the moment because we will only have 2 elation characters in version 4.0. Regardless though, it also increases Sparxie's crit damage, defense ignore, and boosts all allies' elation whenever she consumes at least 4 skill points. Honestly, this is probably the best DPS light cone in the entire game cause it provides solid self buffs while also buffing your entire team, so I'd be on the lookout for it. Finally, before I talk about her Eidolons, I wanted to give a little summary on what her gameplay loop will be like. So, her playstyle is essentially just consuming skill points to deal massive nukes with her EBA and casting ultimate wherever she can for as many punchline stacks as possible. Other than that, she wants to be paired with elation characters for elation-related buffs, punchline stacks, and also Sparkle for skill point generation. Alright, lastly, let's talk about her Eidolons and how good they are. So, her E1 grants her additional punchline stacks after Aha takes his turn and grants the team up to 15% resistance penetration based on the amount of punchlines the team has. This is pretty good as punchlines are really important to Sparxie's kit and overall, a decently valuable Eidolon. Next up, her E2 also follows a similar theme of buffing her right after Aha takes his action. Basically, when this occurs, Sparxie gains 2 of her fake skill points and an extra turn, similarly like Dan Hung IL's old Eidolon too. Now, when she consumes these skill points, she buffs her own crit damage for 2 turns up to 40%. Honestly, one of the strongest E2s in the entire team, and I'm not even kidding. Yep, it's the classic E2 bait again. Her E4 makes her ultimate generate more punchline and increases her elation stat by 25% for 2 turns, which is surprisingly very good for an E4 cause most of them are pretty bad. Finally, her E6 is legitimately amazing, increasing her resistance penetration by 20% and giving her skill up to 30 additional bounces based on how many punchlines you have. This basically doubles its damage, and that's really insane considering how strong her abilities already are. Anyways, with that, I'm done explaining Sparxie's entire kit in detail, and I tried to keep it short and easy this time, so I hope you completely understand how she works by now. Overall, Sparxie's kit is extremely solid and not as reliant on having elation characters as someone like Castorice is on Remembrance. She also has really good generation of punchline with her ultimate being low cost and takes full advantage of all elation mechanics. Personally, I think she'll be a really top-tier damage dealer that will only be better in the future. Do let me know how you feel about her kit though down in the comments section, as I'm quite curious to know what you guys think about her. Also, if you ended up watching until the end, you might want to consider subscribing as well. With that being said, I just want to say I love y'all and I will see you in another one.